Hello, welcome back. I feel like I should have something to call you lovely people watching. Okay, Fic Gang. Fickers? What's up, Fic Lickers? Hey there, fanfic fam. You ready to get Venom pilled? We'll workshop that, I guess. Comment below if you have an opinion on it. And, if you're gonna do that, you might as well like and subscribe too, right?
And the bell.
Last chappy, Elsa and friends tracked Eddie/Venom to, you guessed it, the exact ice palace that Elsa ran to when she ran away. Inspired. Venom also played some acoustic Godsmack, because he's deep. You can email us fanfic submissions, fan art for fics that we've read, to fanficnight@orderoftheleague.com. This is Fanfiction Theater, a celebration of naive writing in all of its foibles, flaws, and unintentional hilarity.
So it's like the last thing was Venom was singing some acoustic Godsmack up in the ice castle.
He was. Yeah, that's right. And then they found him up there being all moody. And they were like, stop.
All right, that sums it up. Let's go. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they're going to tell us like 5 times in this chapter, so whatever, right? Chapter 8. Later that night, the entire group was together again, including Eddie. Taking the opportunity he had, Eddie Brock finally told them everything. From whom he was and where he came from, how he became oh my god, that is torture. How he became Venom, and most of all, Spider-Man, his worst most of all, Spider-Man, his worst enemy. After keeping his secrets hidden for over a week, it felt so good to let everything out, especially to Elsa. Spider-Man! I got the business due by 3 p.m. As far as Eddie was concerned, she was the best thing to happen to him.
I need to get me the pictures of Spider-Man.
Peter Spider-Man, always able to get those great pictures of Spider-Man. Despite coming to know the truth about Venom and all the bad things that he'd done, she still loved and accepted Eddie for who he was.
Wow.
Then again, Elsa knew what it was like to be labeled a monster and freak just for having powers, and knew what it was like to have hurt someone with them. The bond that they shared for one another was a very unique one, and neither of them would trade it for the world.
I mean, he throws cars at people. Like, it's a little different.
I like how
Elsa.
Spider-Man did not come into this universe, but that was the most important thing. And I gotta tell you about Spider-Man.
Oh, I hate that Spider-Man.
That's like the main thing you should know about me.
So if you ever see a Spider-Man, you better not tell me about it. I'll get so mad.
So let me get this straight. Where you come from, the future, I mean, you're the bad guy and this Spider-Man was the hero. Is that how Venom really described it? Apparently
yeah,
so.
I was the bad guy, and he's a good guy, so I hate him.
I was chucking cars at people, and he said no. So I punched him in the head.
And he's always got some quip, some really hurtful thing to cut you down.
Let me play you this acoustic Godsmack song that I think explains it. Christoph asked, perplexed.
Yeah.
Eddie said as he stood by the edge of the balcony to Elsa's room and stared off into the distance. He then added,
Spider-Man, Carnage, and I were in the middle of a huge battle at this place called Stark Enterprises. Little did we know, Spider-Man tricked us into following him there. Eventually, during the fight, he managed to get out of the way as me and Carnage turned our attention on one another. It was then an ally of Spider-Man's called Iron Man activated the portal that brought us here to Arendelle. It was supposed to take us to the endless reaches of outer space.
You're pretty fucking brutal, Tony. Jesus.
Also, how do you know that? Was this a rehearsed battle?
Well, I mean,
well,
no,
Iron Man like shouted it clearly in the middle of the battle. This is supposed to take you to the endless reaches of outer space.
Well, that's why I was.
All right, never mind. You'll see.
Well, that's why I thought it was pretty brutal because obviously he's like,
It was probably more like, let's see how they like the endless reaches of outer space.
no,
Flawless.
There may or may not be a miscalculation.
Yeah.
no.
But as
He
far as
may
I
end up in
know,
Disney properties. I don't know. It's close enough.
as far as I know, there was a miscalculation.
After he finished his story, the group was left in stunned silence. Everything that Eddie Brock had told them seemed so unreal, yet it was as real as Eddie himself. It took a few minutes for them to truly digest everything that they'd learned.
Just try to keep this story down.
It was then Anna asked the question they were all thinking.
Oh, I gotta go.
Oh, okay.
I got a work call I gotta do. I'll talk to you guys next week.
All right. See you later, Ryan.
Bye.
Good night. Yep.
Later, Ryan.
I think I may have been Anna.
We should maybe stop that.
Yeah,
Let's stop with that. Okay.
Ryan collapsed on his steering wheel.
He's been joining us while driving and just crashed.
What would happen if you and Spider-Man were to cross paths again?
Knowing what she was really trying to ask him, Eddie answered,
Our fight is far from over.
He then turned to face Anna and the others as he elaborated.
As you said earlier, Christoph, where I come from, I'm the bad guy, and Spider-Man is our enemy.
Wait, though, when he uttered our, it was in the sound of an inhuman voice, the symbiote.
Spider-Man is our enemy.
Wow. It sounds like really old bad thunder.
What really made the hair on everyone's neck stand up was when the symbiote shimmered at Eddie's remark.
Shimmered.
It was then Elsa realized that whatever hatred Venom may have for Carnage was nothing compared to what he held for the Spider-Man.
Nothing compared to what he held for the Spider-Man?
She couldn't help but wonder how a man so wonderful could be so evil.
How are you so evil?
I'll show you how with my evil diet.
I'm so baffled by why this author seems to think it's a really weird, like, eugenics sort of way to view the world, right? That like this evil is inherent, like that. Yeah, he may be a monster, but the man behind the symbiote was one of the sweetest and caring people she had ever met. It was then Olaf's statement from the other night flashed through her head.
Maybe he didn't become evil because he's really bad. Maybe he became evil because he's misunderstood.
Which makes no fucking sense still. I don't care. I don't
Burning
care.
rage for another
he's
human
definitely evil. No question about it. He is currently evil.
I became evil because Mom burned the pizza rolls once. Never forgave her.
And I blamed Spider-Man. She blamed
Spider-Man.
Well, honey, I think it was Spider-Man. I wasn't drinking in the pantry again.
It wouldn't even make sense if you made it a syllogism, right? Like maybe he didn't become evil because he's really bad. He became really bad because he's evil. But that seems to be the kind of worldview that they're espousing here. Anyway, okay.
I feel like the
author does
line,
not share Venom's view on God.
I feel like that could have been said by Venom or something, and it's just him standing with his hand over his eye and just being all edgy.
Yeah.
Look. Steve Plank's views do not play into anything at all here, okay?
Whoa, hey, we're not bringing up Steve Plank.
Once again, the puzzle pieces started to come together in her mind. In some strange way, the two of them were so similar. He was just like her in the fact that he was pushed into being the monster that everyone hated and feared. When she looked into his eyes, she saw herself. The only difference...
reflective substance?
Yeah. Yes. That's the only response.
I mean, yeah.
The only difference was that she ran away and unleashed her ice powers to escape. Eddie, on the other hand, unleashed his powers for vengeance. It was then Eddie's next remark shook her from her... Okay. It was then Eddie's next remark shook her from her thoughts.
Everybody take a drink every time it was then.
Okay.
It was then once, and young.
I may have done a few good deeds here and there. No, a few good deeds here, never there. But that doesn't change what we are. We are Venom.
He said in an inhuman voice again. Eddie then turned back around, looking away from the group, and continued.
I don't know for sure if Spider-Man considered me his worst enemy, although I certainly am an ideal contender. But I do know one thing. I was his worst nightmare.
Are you sure you don't love Spider-Man?
The symbiote shimmered again for a final time, leaving Eddie in the form of Venom for a few seconds. However, when Elsa rested her hand on Eddie, his own face appeared instead of Venom. Elsa then gently turned Eddie's head to where she could look into his eyes and say,
The past is in the past. It doesn't matter where you've been, but where you're going.
She then stepped closer to Eddie, causing the symbiote to disappear, leaving him completely human again. Eddie Brock then pulled her closer and wrapped his arm around her. Elsa's heart began to race again, being in Eddie's hold. Okay.
He just got her in a headlock.
It felt so right, and she didn't want it to end. Ensuring...
I think I know where this is going.
This is a whole used on Spider-Man.
Ensuring that Eddie wouldn't let go of her, she rested her head on his shoulder. As she did that, a smile broke across her face, causing Eddie to grin as well.
Ow!
Being in his embrace made the queen feel so safe and loved, she knew it was truly meant to be.
Yes, queen.
It was about... It was about 4 a.m, and everyone... I guess this is a different scene now. It was about 4 a.m, and everyone had gone to bed. Elsa thought she was going to be able to sleep easier now that she found Eddie. However, she suffered from a terrible nightmare that kept recurring over and over again. That's what recurring is, yes.
Wait, that one night?
Yeah, I guess.
Just kept starting over? I got a dream on repeat.
She kept finding herself in the same exact situation. The exact and same are serving this fucking... fuck! In the dream, she was somewhere dark and evil. The place was completely void of light and safety. In the darkness...
Just like me, she thought.
In the darkness, she could hear someone laughing softly. And then the laughing gradually gets louder and louder.
And chuckling was heard.
And that is when she finally sees something. A figure is standing in the dark watching her. The shadow figure's eyes began glowing blue, and then he is consumed. God damn it, we can't switch tense halfway through a sentence. Began glowing blue, and then he is consumed by flames. As the fire engulfs him, he continues to laugh at the Snow Queen, and then points. Looking to where the man points, she saw... God damn it! She saw something that terrified her more than anything else she could experience in the dream. Eddie Brock lying dead. The man then used his powers to make the dark chamber a little more visible, further showing her slain lover.
Is that better? Can you see? Let me just turn the light.
Because I don't think you're getting the full effect here.
Hang on, better or now?
I got the dimmer over here. Let me just...
Hold on,
I'll
get this just right.
She begins to scream and cry at the sight of Eddie dead at her feet. It was then the man began to speak.
Arise, Venom! Arise! Get up, Bambi!
The symbiote began to consume Eddie one final time, and he begins... Jesus Christ. And he begins to rise, but not as the Eddie or even the Venom she knew. This Venom had red glowing eyes, and whatever humanity he had was now gone. The corrupted Venom looked at her and roared with a terrifying force, causing Elsa to cry,
Eddie, please.
Oh no!
Did we lose Tristan?
Probably Discord cut it out.
Oh,
But
okay.
Probably
Eddie,
that's
please.
Spider-Man.
Eddie, please. Is that better?
Eddie, please. To which the shadow figure said,
This is going to be Eddie's fate. You can't stop what is coming. He will return to the darkness where he belongs.
Elsa woke up screaming,
Eddie, no!
Seeing that she was safe in her bedroom in the ice castle, she tried to calm herself. She sat up and rested her head on her hands. Her head on her hands, and tried to slow her breathing. She was truly terrified that this nightmare was a forewarning of what was to come. Yes, a forewarning is a warning of what it... Oh, God damn it. She tried to reason with herself that it was just a stupid nightmare and nothing else. However, it still seemed all too real. Maybe it was.
She existed in a work of narrative fiction.
She knew that there were supernatural powers at work vying for the future of Arendelle. What? Really? Okay.
Sure. I mean, we all know.
Venom and
it's common knowledge.
Venom and Carnage were both testimonies to that fact. Aren't they intruders? She was so grateful that they had Eddie Brock or Venom there on the kingdom's side, and more importantly, on her side. She knew that he would never hurt her nor betray her. But what was this vision she kept having? And what did it mean?
She knew that he would never give her up or let her down.
Never turn around and desert her. Will these forces really pull Eddie back into the darkness? Was his fate truly sealed? She truly cared about him, and he had come a long way since he first came to Arendelle. First came to Arendelle and met her. Despite his past and his flaws, she really wouldn't have him any other way. And no dark forces were going to take him away from her without a fight. Eddie Brock and the symbiote truly made a remarkable team being combined into Venom. And he was by far the most powerful person she'd ever met. Still, Eddie Brock was going to need all the help he could get when he faced off against this evil. She planned on being there for him all the way through. Hopefully she won't just stand around useless like she did during the other fight. Not only as the Queen of Arendelle and his ally, but as someone madly in love with him, and she was going to make sure she did not lose him. She didn't want to try going back to sleep, and so she got up. Slipping into her ice dress, What? Does she really wear ice dresses?
Is her dress made of ice? I never...
You know what it is, but she forms it around her. She doesn't slip into it.
Oh my God, she must have like hard nipples like 24/7. That's got to be painful. Slipping into her ice dress, she walked out to her balcony to get some air. As she opened the door, a voice broke into her thoughts, causing her to jump.
Good evening. Well, technically morning.
It was Eddie in his symbiote form, save for his face.
Oh, I guess whatever.
Yeah, it was kind of a trick there.
Oh, have you been awake this whole time?
Elsa asked as she joined him on the balcony.
Kinda, haha.
Seeing the concern in her face, he quickly assured her by saying,
It's cool, though, thanks to my situation. I really don't.
That means he's impotent. That's if you have that long of a pause and then you say situation, you're either a vampire or impotent.
I really don't need to sleep as much as normal people. As much as you normies. Heck, there's been times where I could go 3 or 4 days without sleep.
I'm not like some lowly flight attendant.
Or as I call them, the harlots of the sky.
Rubbing the sleep out of her eyes, Elsa said,
I've been having trouble sleeping myself.
I've been having trouble burping myself, so we're the same.
Eddie nodded, then a devious smile came across his face, causing Elsa to look playfully worried.
Playfully?
Playful
okay.
worry is a sign of a bad relationship.
Let's go to a lighthouse together.
You're getting a request to draw playfully worried.
How do you
what
do
was
that?
the one from the fairy fan fiction? It was like absolutely livid but more or less calm, something like that. What are you thinking about?
She asked, smiling at him. To which Eddie answered,
Want to see something cool?
okay, now it's time to get playfully worried. She nodded
Well,
yes
don't worry,
at
he's impotent. We already know that. So.
well, but I mean, he does have that magic suit, so.
Oh.
She nodded yes at him, to which Eddie said,
Stand behind me. Now pull
where
my
I'm from,
finger.
we call this pegging. She looked at him confused, but complied anyway. Complied is a bad verb.
Yeah.
You never want your like romantic date to have the word complied in it. That's just not walking behind
Now's
him.
a good time to do a safe word. Figure out a safe word, gang.
Walking behind him, Eddie then instructed her.
Put your arms around my torso and under my arms. Do you have arms
It's not getting better.
on your waist?
I'm now going to show you how to do the Heimlich maneuver. This is awesome. She then asked,
What are you going to do?
to which Eddie laughed and said,
Trust me.
after she did what he said, he then added,
Hold on to me tightly. Now wiggle. Why, Eddie? What's the point in all of this?
before Elsa could finish her question, the symbiote wrapped itself around Elsa's waist and arms, causing her to scream. Eddie then spoke up.
Don't worry. It won't hurt you. I'm doing that.
The lack of
It
comma
won't
or
hurt you.
anything.
I'm
just
doing
really-
that.
It won't hurt you. I'm gonna hurt you.
Seeing the fear and confusion in her face, Eddie then assured her.
Symbiotes
Playful.
don't hurt people. I do. So you won't fall. So, is he just making the symbiote into like a romper, like jumper romper?
Yes.
Whatever.
Yes.
Okay. Eddie.
This is playfully worried as best as I can figure out.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, good.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, very good.
It's making me worried. Eddie, seriously, what are you doing and why would I fall?
Once again, Eddie's playful shenanigans interrupted Elsa's query.
Oh, that Venom's playful shenanigans. Bane of Spider-Man.
Once Eddie was sure she was safe and tight, he jumped off the castle. Okay. Phrasing. He jumped off the castle tower with Elsa holding on to him for dear life. Of course, in truth, she had nothing to fear, for Eddie was still using the symbiote to hold her close to him. Still, Elsa screamed the entire way down.
Still,
As the two of them
Elsa
were
got
in free fall.
whiplash.
Well, isn't she like engulfed in the symbiote? So she's just like, there's just muffled screaming the entire way down.
Also, if she's
like,
in an ice dress, if she's in an ice dress and it's like holding tight, that dress is cracking right now, right?
It's more like a frostbite dress.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like chainmail, but with snowflakes.
I really want a picture of Elsa melded into Venom's back, but just like her, just her face is sticking out of a black lump, just screaming.
I wonder if the author of this would like these drawings, you know?
I don't know.
I wonder
I mean,
if he'd
this
be
one
like-
probably.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that worries me about this is that it's Man of the Year 1989, so presumably they're older than I am.
I know.
And like that's
Then, right before they could hit the ground, Eddie shot out a web strand and pulled them up. He then shot out another strand and swung away from the castle. Elsa couldn't believe what she was experiencing. The free fall, which is now one word, fuck it. Scared her half to death, but when Eddie shot out some web and begun swinging with his web powers, it felt like she was flying. She looked down, and what she saw took her breath away. She saw how high they were and screamed. Yet it wasn't a scream of fear, but a scream of excitement. She giggled as she looked at the forest rushing by beneath her feet. The thrill of the ride caused her to hold on to him tighter as she pressed her head against the back of his shoulder.
It was similar, but legally distinct from Twilight.
Elsa then closed her eyes for a few seconds and kissed the back of his neck. Eddie smiled when he felt her soft lips make contact with the back of his neck. For the first time in forever, Eddie felt that all was right in the world. Eddie then looked back. Eddie, for the love of Christ, why she has not used her powers once in this goddamn.
She made her dress.
No, she didn't. She slipped into one that already existed. It just drives me crazy. You have a story about two superheroes, and she is just relegated to this role of sidekick. Eddie then looked back at Elsa.
Yeah, and they also keep saying how similar they are because of their powers.
Right. It's like, sad I gave them up in that story that we haven't written yet, you know? Eddie then looked back at Elsa and said,
"Want to do something crazy? Want to join the Mile High Club?"
I was going to take it farther than that, but all right. To which the Snow Queen replied,
"This is how eagles do it."
Fused together.
In a wad of black symbiote.
Right, the male eagle exudes an ink, which covers.
To which the Snow Queen replied,
"See, now I need to make a medical diagram of that, of how eagles."
"You mean this isn't crazy for you?"
All of a sudden, Eddie took a really large swing and began doing flips through the air, causing Elsa to scream again. So this time, she just started throwing. Though this time, she was laughing uncontrollably from the rush of it. She then playfully yelled in his ear,
"You better not let go of me, Eddie Brock."
But I picture her yelling, and I'm seeing like Darth Vader spinning around in his X-wing, you know?
Yeah.
Without wasting another second, Eddie said,
"I promise I will never let you go.
Never gonna give you up." It just
Every
keeps
time.
being applicable.
Yeah.
Those words shook her to the core as Elsa then whispered into his ears,
"I love
My
you."
core has been shook.
"I love you, Eddie."
Someone get Aaron Eckhart on the line.
He then whispered back,
"I love you more."
Then, oh God.
That kind of okay.
Something I would have said at 15, you know?
Yeah.
Then with superhuman speed, he landed on top of another mountain and took Elsa into his arms, and the two of
Land
them
with
shared
superhuman speed.
just
I can fall faster than anyone. Watch me.
took Elsa into his arms, and the two of them shared another passionate kiss. So did he have to shimmy to get her to move in the romper around to the front so that he could take her into his arms and kiss her? Although Eddie had already made up his mind on the matter, the moment set it on fire further. He wasn't sure. He's super set on this plan now.
And on fire.
On fire further, the next chapter.
They should not have just landed in that campfire. It was a bad idea from the start.
Furthermore, I am on fire.
Shouldn't have landed so fast. He wasn't sure what Carnage was planning, but he did know this. Carnage will never harm Elsa as long as he had something to say about it. All right, well, good. That falling in love was what it took for you to be like, maybe I shouldn't let that evil creature hurt this woman, you know?
Yeah.
But you know what?
That's because he's such a good guy.
But you know what? Elsa and Kristoff, or wait, is this Elsa or Anna? Anna and Kristoff can go fuck themselves.
Yeah. And especially Olaf.
Yeah, especially Olaf. I mean, I don't give a shit. Yeah.